All right. So Vans, by the way, the Q&A is starting now. Vans is my editor, and I always fuck up of showing him when the Q&A starts. I always make his job as difficult as possible. I'm sorry,
You could be
Vans.
like we do on my podcast, and we go pew, 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 pew. But like our producer hates it when we do the pews and gets really pissed off because we do the same thing. We live stream and then an edited version goes up.
Okay.
And we do that to piss him off every time. He hates it so much. Pew, pew, pew,
pew, pew. Nothing but plosives and mic peeking.
Oh, he gets so mad. I love it.
Oh, man. Or that could just be a wonderful intro to the podcast or to the Q&A of you talking about how you peed on your hands so you didn't have to wash them and then came back.
Yep, I washed them in my own piss. It's fun, guys. The wind's starting to change. Better drink my own piss. No, that's me imitating Bear Grylls.
Oh, it's sterile and I like the taste.
Yeah, no. Real fast, I gotta show this because it'll make you laugh.
Yeah.
But I lived in New Zealand, and when I lived in New Zealand, I bought my ex-husband, who was then my boyfriend, like a kayaking day on the harbor. And so we went to go kayak in the harbor in Wellington, and this guy showed up to the kayaking place wearing a helmet with a GoPro on it. And we're like, bro, we're just kayaking in the harbor. Like, shit is not about to get real. But he had on this GoPro, and my ex-husband just looks up and goes, wind's starting to change. Better start drinking my own piss. And I'm just like, oh my God. So that's been like my joke ever since. When shit's about to get extreme, I say that. That's the backstory to it, though.
Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Shit's about to get real.
Yeah, he was literally just kayaking in the harbor with ships in the background, like not like whitewater rafting.
These rapids, they've been known to get quite violent.
A barge goes by. Honk, honk.
Whoa! These waves. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
All good. First question came from Twitter. Does your mouth hurt from laughing?
Yes, it does.
Mine does too.
It's so good.
First question came from Sh55. She actually has two questions that come from Twitter. Hi, Ree. Why is the correct way to pronounce GIF with a soft G?
Okay, so this is why it's not Sh55. I love you, by the way. She's amazing. She's actually my twin. So it's weird. Like, she found me on stream and started, I guess, having like a friend crush on me and was like, oh my God, this girl is exactly like me. I love her. I had no clue who she was, literally, until this week. And then I watched her stream and I go, holy fuck, that's me on camera. Like, it's so weird. She's amazing. So I mean that in a loving way. She's so awesome. But so it's pronounced
Go ahead.
GIF.
Sorry, go.
It's pronounced GIF because the G stands for graphics, which is G. So GIF. The guy said that it's GIF because he's dumb and doesn't understand like what he actually spelled out in his own like the creator that it stands for graphics. I'm sorry, dude, you're fucking wrong about your own thing, and that sucks real bad, but I've been wrong about my own thing too, so just own it.
That rebuttal used to get me so mad. But now I've just learned to just not argue it because I used to be a GIFer and not a GIFer. But I've just realized that it's one of those things. It's not a battle worth fighting. And some people get really, really fucking angry when you try and argue the opposing. So I've just learned.
GIF is peanut butter. GIF is peanut butter or a cleaning spray in New Zealand, for those that don't know. But look at X. X has a good point because it's spelled GIF, and gift isn't pronounced gift.
There is actually a lot of examples like that. But the only difference is that the G in GIF is an acronym to where all of these other examples that people have, they're words. So there isn't an acronym that is supposed to have a soft G but has a hard G or the opposite. So it's very unique, but I used to be on the side of the person who invented it should get to say how it's pronounced, but apparently that's not good enough.
Disappointed.
I'm sorry.
I mean, also let's talk about phonetics. The G phoneme category, like G, J. G is the primary sound of G too. So I'm just gonna throw that out there and leave it at that. But you know.
What proof do you have of that?
Did you not have to learn like all of the sounds and phonics in school? Like that you learned them all in order and like.
Oh no, your mic cut out completely that time.
Oh, of course it did. How convenient.
Oh, whoops. And I didn't mute you. I swear to God, it cut out like that. But remember when I said I graduated with a 1.8? Okay. I didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff.
I did pay attention, but I still, which makes it really fucking sad, actually. Let's not visit that.
All right. Well, we can move on from that one.
You know what? I still got to speak at my graduation. So, jokes on my school. I still gave a speech at graduation, even though I had a 1.8 GPA. Apparently, I was still very charismatic.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I got a speech and everything before the valedictorians. I was the opening speech of my graduation, and I barely graduated. I was just, I don't know. I was the idiot that everybody loved.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, right?
The only reason that I know who Sh55 is because I was watching She Snaps a couple days ago, and she actually rated Sh55. So I was like, oh shit, why do I recognize this name? And I was like, oh, I was just watching her stream about maybe like a week or so ago. I think she was playing Borderlands 3.
Yeah, she's a Borderlands fan. We play a lot of the same games, actually. She trolled me for weeks before she ever rated me. And she hid her badge. And so, like, I didn't know she was partnered. I didn't know anything about this fucking... I thought she was a dude. And she rated me then. And I, everything exploded in my channel. Like, there were, 700 viewers. And I'm getting, follow after follow. Like, I got 250 follows in one stream. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was dying. She was like, break her chat. She was like, I've been waiting weeks to do this. And I was just like, oh my God. And I still had no clue who she was. And then I went to her channel and I was like, I started watching her and I was like, holy shit, we're so like, I fucking love you. Like, I want to be friends with you. Like, I actually want to be your friend. And I mean, I'm so grateful. Like, this is why I love Twitch, because shit like this happens. She was like, I found your channel because it said you're weird and I'm weird. And she was like, oh my God, I'm weird too. And then she started watching and she's like, we're weird in the same way. But I didn't pick up on it. Like, I knew she was weird and I liked her and she kept talking, but I thought it was just some random dude. And then she rated me and was like, bah, ha, 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 my plan worked. I can't believe you didn't discover me. And it was just fucking hilarious. It's great. I'm really stoked on the new friendship for sure.
That's a great origin story.
Right?
Yeah.
Like she might become, provided we stay friends, which I hope we do. All the love to you, 50. But she might be probably become one of my favorite origin stories of any friendship, because it was just so funny. Like, she would literally come in and troll me and I had no fucking clue who this person was. I don't know who anybody is.
Right. Because they're just a name in chat at that point.
Yeah. And she hid all of her badges and it turns out she did that on purpose because she really wanted to break my channel and break me and surprise me in a cool way. Okay. She was like, I like this girl. I want to support her and overwhelm her. And that was just, it's kind of awesome, honestly.
That's definitely awesome.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? That's really cool of you. And it just made me like her even more than I already do, because she's obviously very chill and down to earth and just about being a rad, chill, awesome person. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, part 2 of her question is, and you kind of already answered this. Also, hi. How did you get into gaming? What are your favorite games? How much has Tina Turner, Tiny Tina influenced your life?
So I kind of mentioned how I got into gaming. My best friend, Jamie, her dad was a big gamer, got me into Missile Command, fell in love with gaming from Missile Command and Frogger onward. Then my best friend instilled that even more. I was a tomboy. He kept me involved in gaming. And then Tiny Tina. Okay. So Borderlands has probably become my favorite game series. I always thought it was Fallout, but Borderlands became really important to me. Borderlands became important to me. I loved the main campaign of Borderlands 2. It was the first one I played, as far as the Borderlands games goes. But then I played the Tiny Tina DLC. And I'm a person that, without going into detail on your podcast, but a lot of my chat and my stream know, I've had a pretty tough life. I've had to deal with some pretty big tragedies and some really hard stuff. And that's not to elicit any sort of pity. It's just I've seen some shit. And so when I played the Tiny Tina DLC, I realized that it wasn't just a spoof on Dungeons and Dragons, but that it was actually this huge commentary on grief and loss and accepting death and grief and how you process that as an individual. And it actually is. Now I challenge you to go replay Bunkers and Badasses and disprove me. But the entire thing is literally about the different stages of grief, like denial, acceptance, anger, like all these different things, and how you work through that, and how she created a world so that she could get through the grief and process it. Because at the end, everybody's like, Tina, he's not coming back. And she finally just breaks down and goes, I know, but it's my story. Because it's supposed to be about her being able to process that grief and work through it the way that she needs to.
So
yeah,
Matt Weenie has always, I mean, since we've started dating, Borderlands is one of the games that we've played the most together. She has always spoken so highly of that DLC, and we haven't gotten to it yet. We'll probably try and do it before we embark on our Borderlands 3 journey. But she has always said how much she has loved that DLC, and I've always looked forward to it.
Yeah, so it's ultimately about her processing. If you've played Borderlands 2, spoiler alert, real fast. Roland gets killed, and Roland was Tina's best friend and like the person that mentored her growing up. Early in my life, I lost somebody that was in my family that mentored me, that brought me up in a really tragic way. And so for me, when I got to the ending of that story and she says that, like, I just like burst into tears on the couch, and I was like, holy shit, this is so much deeper, so much more meaningful. I love Tiny Tina. Like, I love her now that I understand her madness and where she came from and why she's unapologetically spastic. Like, I love all of these things about her, and I feel like I can really level with her. Fast forward to this year at E3, I got to produce the Borderlands 3 segment. So I got to work directly with Gearbox and the creative directors of Borderlands. And
how awesome was that?
It was amazing that the executive producers gave me that segment because they know I love Borderlands so much. But B, it was incredible because when I talked to the creative directors and stuff, and I expressed to them why I love Borderlands for the reasons I just told you, and they said, this is what it's about, and this is what makes us happy to do our job. And like, that meant so much to me. Like, we just really hit it off, and it was such a true, genuine camaraderie. Like, they really give a fuck about that stuff. And it made the game mean even more to me. It made Tiny Tina mean even more. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's why I love Tiny Tina, because I feel like it made me realize, like, no, how I deal with this is how I deal with it. And it is my story. And early on as a teenager, like when I was going through some hard life stuff, I remember I grew up in the South. It was fairly judgmental. And a lot of other parents and stuff would judge my mom, be like, your daughter's too rambunctious, or she does this, or she does that. And like, what they didn't see behind the scenes was like the dark, hard, difficult stuff that was going on that I was processing.
Right.
And that's why I was who I was. And so I just realized when I played that DLC, like, no, this is my fucking story. Like, I'm going to own that. I don't want to make it be like anybody else's. I don't want to change it. I mean, I want to operate to the best of my abilities and become a better person, but I'm not going to apologize for taking on life the way I best know how. As long as I'm still being humble and seeking out others to help guide me and change me for the better. Like, no, I'm not going to apologize. Like, this is what I know. This is how I know to get through it. So that's a big, deep one for me. And it doesn't seem so deep, but I'm getting a Borderlands tattoo to celebrate this BlizzCon booking. So I'm like really excited about it because I've been wanting a Tiny Tina related thing for a long time. So
sounds like Swifty knew what she was getting into when she asked that question.
She might have. I haven't even told her any of that. So I don't know.
Wait, really?
I'm just curious. No, Swifty doesn't know that at all.
No shit. You're welcome, Swifty.
So Swifty can hear this now and she'll either love me or hate me. I don't know, but I hope she wants to be friends after the podcast because I really like her. She's so fucking weird. She's so fucking awesomely weird. My new favorite weird friend. Oh.
Next question is
you fuck off. You and Matweenie are still there. I don't play favorites. I got a posse of awesome weird friends like this.
I'll be a part of that posse.
Yeah, I want us to all be a posse. We're equal. We're in this together.
I haven't heard the word posse in fucking like years, like so long.
I say really outdated shit a lot. I still say mom.com.
Okay.
I'm going to bring back tubular and bodacious.
Tubular. Yeah. I think, did you ever play I'm guessing you have Super Mario World for Super Nintendo. Yes. So the Star World that has all of those super interesting names.
A Tubular World.
Tubular World. Yeah.
Yeah. I literally just started playing it again because Genso Chicken gifted me a Switch fucking Genso. He gifted me a Switch Lite for when I travel for work. And so I've been replaying Super Mario World recently. I just unlocked Star World again.
You saw my tattoo at TwitchCon, right?
No, I love Super Mario World, though. It's one of my favorite games of all. It's Castlevania 4 and
I'm gonna stand up here, but...
Oh, God. Don't break yourself.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. That Yoshi.
That is my Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island tribute tattoo, because Super Mario World is one of my absolute favorite games of all time.
Yeah, it's in my top 5 easily.
Yep.
I would have to say Power Rangers on Super Nintendo, which I loved, Super Mario World, Castlevania 4, Aliens. Those are like my top 4. Aliens on Super Nintendo was fucking blast. Those are probably my top 4, though. The 5th is a little tricky because I had some really good contenders for 5th place, but yeah.
And you had the Super Nintendo for decades, so you had lots of time to explore different.
I've played every shitty title that there is on Super. Aficionados of like retro gaming are like, what the fuck, you played that game? I was like, I own that game. Like, I bought it for $10 at a garage sale.
And now I'm getting tattooed.
The 1992 Winter Olympics was actually a game that you could get, or either 1988 or 1992 Winter Olympics, and you could do like the decathlon, or like the one where you like, wait, what's the one where you like ski and shoot and everything?
Ski, shoot.
No, you like ski, you cross country ski, and then you shoot targets. I don't know, but like you can do like all of the winter events in the Olympics you can play on Super Nintendo. I fucking played that game. And like I feel like I've played every Super Nintendo game.
Biathlon? Does that sound?
Biathlon, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you ski and you shoot. I don't know who thought of that idea. That seems really dangerous to ski with a gun, but
it really does. Right.
America.
Yeah. All right. The last question that we got from Twitter was from Exaltair, and I wasn't sure if this was an inside joke or not. Which do you prefer more, chicken or meat pie shakes?
So that is not actually an inside joke, but it is a thing intrinsic to my community on Twitch. I drink meat shakes because I'm stupid, and because I'll say things like, hey, if I got this many bits in the next few minutes, like I would totally drink a chicken shake. Why not? Or like, hey, yeah, I would totally drink a meat shake if I got double the biddies, because the last one was so fucking terrible and there's no way I'll get double the biddies. And then 7 minutes later, I'm like, I'm drinking a fucking meat shake. So I drank a chicken shake. It was chicken, avocado, and spinach, and I had to add apple juice to make it drinkable. So I drank that. I blended it in a blender, and then I drank a shepherd's pie shake. I dumped a shepherd's pie into a blender with some boiling water and drink it. And everybody's like, "Oh, it should just taste like blended up soup." No, the texture and the flavor combination is where it ends, and it's not good. So the chicken shake was worse. It was cold and it was chicken and avocado. So I wanted to die the whole time. And it was the chicken shake one I accidentally made like 40 ounces. So I drank 40 ounces of chicken shake.
Oh my God. That is
the meat pie shake. I wisened up and I drank like 8 to 10 ounces. It was like a normal serving, but yeah, it was real dumb of me.
I'm salivating, but I think it's because I'm going to throw up.
It was not. Everybody's like, oh, it shouldn't be that bad. I'm like, okay.
Right. Oh my God.
And I've eaten some gross shit. I travel all over the world. I make it a point everywhere I go to eat everything that's taboo or strange, because I want to see if there was possibly a motivation I'm not considering for eating this sort of thing, you know?
Right.
So I always do that. And still, like, I've eaten a tarantula, I've eaten horse, I've eaten silkworms, you know, I've eaten like all sorts of crazy shit. Fermented shark, which is called harcarl, which Gordon Ramsay said was the worst thing he ever tasted in his life. I think he's a fucking baby. It doesn't taste that bad.
Shots!
Shots fired, Gordon Ramsay. No. But yeah, like I do that. And the chicken shake was easily one of the worst things I've ever had to try to like finish. Like I was just like, this is fucking gross. And apparently bodybuilders do it.
That would make sense. That protein.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I can't chew that much protein a day. I'm like, bro, just chew your fucking protein. You're stupid.
Get with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I did it. So that's not it. That's just intrinsic to my community. But yeah.
Okay.
So what other questions you got for me?
Oh, so I'm going to skip this one because it was from My Name is Hefe, and his question was, what led you to Twitch? And I feel like in the interest of time, we spent a lot of time on that earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, I
so
answered that.
go
Love
back
you,
in time, Hefe.
I love you, Hefe.
This one is from Ammo, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Speaking of trust, ask Ree when that interview with the Boston Globe is going to get posted.
Oh, never. Fuck that guy. I don't even remember his name now. But this guy came in my chat on New Year's Eve last year. I had like a crazy stream, an insane amount of viewers. I had some adult beverages, and this guy came in and said he was from the Boston Globe and started interviewing me in the middle of stream, and it was hilarious. It played out so freaking hilarious with us trolling him and shutting him down.
Okay.
Because I knew what was up. Like, I knew he was a fake from the beginning. I played along, but like as soon as I picked up this is totally not real, I was just like messing with him nonstop. So it was a pretty funny stream. I kind of wish I had saved the VOD.
Oh,
I didn't,
no.
and I really regret it. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. But he claimed he was from the Boston Globe.
Interesting.
Yeah. Trolls are fucking weird, man.
They're intriguing, but yes, very, very weird and so easy to pick out.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, next question from Hellhound. What is innuendo out undo?
Okay. So on my stream one night, I intoxicated, who knows? But I had a couple beverages. And somebody made an innuendo, and I'm all about, like, my stream is very adult. There are a lot of out of bounds questions and things that happen, and we just kind of laugh it off and move on. So I made a new rule that we could have. I had a wand from this summer. I got a wand from Harry Potter World. And for some reason, the wand was on my desk. And I just grabbed it and I said, guys, this is the circle of what's appropriate. And here are innuendos. And out here are out-you-windows. Innuendos are okay. Out-you-windows are no-K. So innuendos, out-you-windows, okay, no-K. And now it's just like it's become a thing on my stream because people hate it so much. Like, why the fuck do you have a wand? Why are you talking to us like this? And I just laugh. So anytime anybody says anything inappropriate, that's kind of what happens. But
are you an innie or outie?
An out-you-window is basically when somebody says what an innuendo applies. Like, they just come out and say it. And I'm like, that's an out-you-window.
Got it.
But then it became a whole joke like, ooh, I'm looking innuendos. Ooh, I'm looking out-you-windows at you. Like, it became like this whole... It's hilarious.
You've developed so many, like, inside things since you started streaming.
That's what's funny to me. I really have. Like, we have so much hilarious shit like that in my stream that I'm sure outsiders come in and they're like, what the fuck is that? Like, my chicken shake emote, my stupid drink emote.
Yeah, like, chicken shakes.
All of those are, yeah, the chicken shake emote is one. The stupid drink is because a troll came in and said, your drink is stupid. And I was like, drinking water out of a Twitch cup, and I was just like, and I like lost it. Like, I was crying laughing. I was like, my drink's so fucking stupid, you guys. So now that's our troll emote. Like, when a troll comes in, we're just like, your drink is stupid. Your drink
sucks.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of a time on any of the days that we met. Was I wearing any of my pink or blue all over print t-shirts where it's just like, okay. So
I love them. I want one so bad.
Designed by human / Captain Sugar Spice, by the way.
Okay, perfect.
I was wearing my pink version of that shirt one day, and somebody came in and accused me of pushing my effeminate views and morals onto people in chat because I was wearing feminine clothing. That was the most fucked up conversation I've ever had with somebody in chat. Like, because I was choosing to wear pink and this like feminine version of a shirt, that I was oppressing my community with my views and my ways on everybody else. Yeah, we joke about that every once in a while, but that just made me think, like, when somebody comes in and says, your fucking drink sucks, man. Like, it reminds me of stupid things people have said in chat.
I had somebody come in during an IRL chat once and be like, streams. I had somebody come in once and they were like, you're really not my thing and you're not a very good streamer, but whatever, to each their own. And I just laughed because I don't like trolls. Literally, they could say anything and I don't get up. Like, they just don't upset me. Maybe
Yeah.
they should. They just don't get to me. And so I just started laughing and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's fine if you don't like me. Like, cool. Like, I appreciate your feedback. I'm going to keep doing my thing. And then he responds, well, shit. I guess I'm a follower now. That just really made me like you that you responded like that. And I don't like trolls. I don't even understand trolls. Like, even if they make me say something bad or inappropriate because I read chat, like, my community knows like that's not who I am. So they
Right.
immediately just say, oh, she's fucking Ron Burgundy. She reads everything in chat. Like, who cares, you know? And then we move on. Like, trolls just don't upset me. Like, they come in, they'll be like, are you a mom? How many kids do you have? Like, they say so much weird shit to me.
That
and
is
I
weird.
just like, I get the weirdest DMs. And like, even the creepy ones, I'm just like, dude, you're such a loser. You're reported. Bye. Like,
See ya. Yeah,
like, yeah.
Somebody in chat just reminded me that somebody came in and was like, oh, nice hat, dude. You wear hats all the time because you think you're fucking cool? Like, what the I hide my insecure bald head. What the fuck do you know?
Right.
Weird.
Oh my god.
Trolls.
So funny.
Next question from Ranch Depressing.
I love her name so much. My name on Outer Worlds is Ranch because of her.
That is a fucking great name. She asks, are you living the life you wanted as a kid?
I am. Well, when I was a kid, I don't really know that I knew what I wanted as far as what a life would look like. I had a pretty weird life as a kid. Like, my mom is an artist, my dad's a doctor. My dad, even though he's a doctor, like, they were pretty, certain parts of their life fit that stereotype, but other parts they were pretty bohemian about. And I would say my dad is still pretty bohemian and not run of the mill, what you would expect out of a physician. So I had trouble kind of visualizing like what a life would look like for me. Because mine has always been weird. Like, the Ree you see today is literally like, my mom was a photographer, documented my entire childhood. You look back through photos, it's like, wow, like, I was who I was from a very young age, and my life was what it is from a very young age. So that's hard to say, but what I can say is, when I got married, I married a great man. He was awesome. I can't say anything bad about the type of human being he was. I chose wisely in that department. We weren't a good match, but I was very much living a life that wasn't the life I wanted. I lived like kind of your stereotypical married yuppie sort of life. And it was a great life. It was a comfortable life, but it was not the life I wanted. And I constantly, towards the end of the marriage, kept saying, I want my old life back in LA. Like, I want that life, even though I lived with roommates and like worked a lot of hours. Like, I was really happy with my life. And I realized within the last month that I have that life again, and it's exactly what I want. So that's really cool. So in that regard, like, yeah, like I would love to be making a little bit more money. Love to be, working on projects that I'm more passionate about rather than reality stuff or award shows. That's what we all want. So that work out here. So like those things could be better, but overall I would say yes. Like, the structure of my life, the financial comfort, all of the different things are starting to get to where I've really always wanted and dreamed of them being. And that's really cool.
Awesome. This is very fulfilling to hear.
Yeah. It's cool. Like, I'm not quite, I have that internal sense of I haven't quite arrived yet, but a comfort of knowing like I'm on the path and I'm pretty content right now.
That's half the battle right there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right? Like, for me, and this is legitimate because I know a lot of people struggle with this and think like, oh, she's pretty, she's successful, everything must be perfect. Like, I would love to share my life with somebody. Like, I date a lot. Like, I'm not necessarily like, I don't go into a lot of detail about my personal life, but like, I date, I go out. I'm not necessarily like lonely or anything, but like, I would love like another long-term meaningful relationship to share this cool shit with. I want to come home and be like, fuck yeah, another victory. Like, and I share it with all my friends, and that's awesome. And I'm not demeaning anybody, any of you out there that are watching this. Like, I get great joy from like calling Jelly Monkey and being like, fuck, guess what just happened? I'm so excited. She's usually one of the first people I call. And so like, that's also cool. But like, there's other parts like that like I do really want, like I want that feeling again. But I also know that those things come on their own time, like right. When everything's the best. So not necessarily like perfect timing, but they come on their own time when they need to. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, next question from that Boz guy. You can only bring one lens with you to a photo shoot. Which one would you bring?
50 millimeter 1.8. Well, okay. Actually, no, I'd probably still bring a nifty 50. I have a 1.4 and I actually like the 1.8 better. If I had any budget, it would be an 85 1.2, but those are, $2,000. So
We have right here a Canon 50 millimeter 1.8. This is an older.
Is that the nifty 50? I love the old. I still have my old nifty 50. I have a 1.4. I like the 1.8 a ton. Sean knows, Mictlan in chat, he knows, he's a photographer. Actually, he was around when I first started shooting seriously, and I used to learn a lot of things from him, and vice versa. We all used to throw ideas back around to each other, and he knows I shot with my nifty 50. The nifty 50 you have, I shot with the first 5 years that I shot with an SLR.
Whoa.
And I would get comments back, people being like, what L lens did you shoot with? And I'm like, I literally used my $89 50 for this shoot.
Yep.
So,
there's a reason why it's nifty.
Good lighting and a nifty 50. So I tell everybody that too when they want to be a photographer. They'll send me stuff. They're like, I need this camera and this lens. I'm like, no. You will appreciate yourself more if you start with a nifty 50 and a good camera body. Get a good one. You don't need a 1D, in the Canon world, because I shoot Canon. You don't need a 1D. You don't necessarily need to get the lowest Rebel, but get like a decent body, get a nifty 50, shoot with that for a few years, get accustomed to it, and you will really appreciate it later. And that's what I did for myself, and it's so much better. Like now I work with everything else I have, under hard constraints a lot easier because that's all I had for years. That's all I could afford. So
my dad has been a photographer. Oh, your mic was cutting out. I didn't realize you were still talking.
No, I just said expensive is not always better. People think that in gear, and it is
same
true
for streaming.
Cases, but yep. Some cases that's true. Some it's not at all. My panel light I think was $32 off Amazon, and I wish I had a few more features, but overall for right now, for my budget, it works amazing and I love it. Like,
my light panels were $32 as well. So, my dad has been a photographer for 20 plus years. He shot for the big three automotive industry here in Detroit for a super long time. Yeah. And he gave me that lens when I got into photography. I shot with a Rebel T2i for probably 4 years, and I shot a lot of shows. The two lenses that I brought with me everywhere were the nifty 50 and then a Sigma 8mm fisheye lens, which is like one of my favorite things to shoot with. Did you see the new camera that I got recently?
No, I didn't. You have to show.
I nutted for this real hard. So I got a Sony A6400 with a Sigma 16mm 1.4 1.4, and this thing is fucking awesome. So
okay, I'm gonna have to hit you up about that after stream because I've been looking at mirrorless. I've been resistant because I shoot with the 5D series. Like that's my bread and butter.
Okay.
5D. But I travel so much. I'm like, I want to get a mirrorless, and I'm torn. But also that grip looked really beautiful. Yeah. Is that a wood grip?
Yes. So
let me see that again. Sorry.
There's this company called Small Rig where they make these metal frames that attach to the camera. So all of those holes that you see are all 1/4-20 threaded mounting points.
Oh, wow. I like that.
And then this wooden grip is an additional piece that screws into the frame of the Small Rig.
Wow.
Yeah. So fucking awesome. So before today, I would have said the nifty 50 is my go-to lens, but ever since I've only had that lens for 2 days, just a little bit of shooting that I have done for the past couple days, I'm like, oh my God, this lens is fucking awesome. And I can't wait to actually put it to use.
Well, now that I shoot full frame, the 85 1.8 is my baby. I love the color. It's basically like shooting with a 50 on a cropped sensor. So I shot with a 40D for like my first 4 or 5 years with an SLR. I had a Canon 40D body before I switched over to the 5D realm. And I love the 5Ds. I've shot with 1Ds. I like them a lot, but I don't really see like the cost to value ratio between the 1D and the 5D. I'm like, why would I spend $7 more on a 1D or $4 more on a 1D versus a 5D, which is what the disparity was at the time. And it's like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I love the 5Ds. So yeah, that's what I use. But yeah, I knew Sean, I had to ask you to re-show the frame on your camera because I knew Mictlin in chat would love that. Like yeah. This is also his wheelhouse. I've known him for like 14 years. So
holy shit. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. We go way back in the internet world.
Again, talking about how relationships came to fruition. I love hearing about it.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. We have about 4 more from Myth. I always fuck up his name. I'm just calling you Myth. How long was your craziest marathon stream?
Oh God. I really haven't done anything. I'm not crazy. I was 4-hour once and then I ended up having knee January, so I had to cancel it because I couldn't stream that long. So probably only 15 hours, honestly. So
that's a good long time.
I mean, it's still long, but not insane. Like so many other streamers do way more. So yeah, probably about 15 hours. And by the end of it, I was starving. I had ordered food. The food never got delivered. So everybody was cracking up in chat. I was starving and I was probably having wine and just in a really like, who knows? That was back. I haven't done a stream that long since. I mean, I haven't even done a 12-hour stream in over a year now.
Okay.
Like, I just don't do that. Like, I just don't see the value in wearing myself out like that. And it's like, even when you do those, like, I kind of get it, but I feel like I don't fully understand the point of it, I guess. Like, I just don't want to exhaust myself that much.
I'm glad you say that because there is no point and it's bad for you and it's just don't it's great to look back at those moments. I have
friends that do them a lot and that's awesome because it's hard to do. So I appreciate it for that reason. I don't want anybody to feel judged.
Right.
It's just I don't see the value in making myself that tired, that worn out, that stupid, or that delirious. Because that's just what would happen for me.
Because there might be a time when said friends a year from now look back and go, shit, that probably wasn't the greatest of ideas. But to each their own. But I can tell you that sitting on a computer for 12 to 15 hours a day on a regular basis is not good for you in multiple ways.
Yeah, exactly. So I just can't do those anymore, especially for my mental health. Like I have to be out moving. You know, I would have so much depression and anxiety if I just streamed 12 hours a day again. It's just not good for me. So
absolutely
5.5 to 6 seems to be the sweet spot where I'm pretty happy. Like when I'm streaming, that's about my stream length and I feel good and I get other stuff done during the day and I have energy to give to everyone in the stream without feeling like I'm shorting chat on their interactions with me because you know, I really give a fuck about my community. And if I'm not giving them my best, I feel bad. I want them to have my attention and know I care about them. So, yeah.
Next question from Middle Age Stream. What are your three favorite SNES titles?
Oh, well, Castlevania 4, Alien, and then it would probably have to be Power Rangers. I loved like the fighting aspect because Power Rangers was like adventure, but also with a lot of fighting in it. And that was, I don't know, it was cool.
Right up your alley.
That game. But then Super Mario World. So fuck.
Yeah. Tread carefully.
But then there's Aladdin. Can I give a top 5?
Sure.
Okay. So my top 5 definitely consists of, in no particular, Super Castlevania 4, Super Mario World, Aladdin, Power Rangers, and Aliens. Like those are easily my top 5 favorite SNES games.
Good choices.
Yeah.
Second to last question. This one is also from Myth. For Reanimator, have you looked into or even bought some of the new remakes of the classic consoles like NES or SNES?
I have an SNES Lite. I actually lost my original I lost my SNES in my divorce, and it was really sad for me. It was the biggest loss I could have had, which is hilariously childish, but I was so sad about it. So I bought I never rebought it after I lost it. And then one of my community members had an extra SNES Lite or SNES Classic laying around, the mini one. And he was like, hey, I was going to resell this. I'm not going to resell it. Like, here, just take it as a birthday gift. Like, so I've been playing that a lot. I love it. I will say the controllers aren't quite the same. And I find frustration with the controller responsiveness. So that's been a little bit hard. But other than that, I would say, yeah, I definitely do own one and I definitely play it. So.
What was harder, the divorce or losing the Super Nintendo in the divorce?
I mean, honestly, if you ask my chat, probably losing the Super Nintendo, because I talk about that part of it more than anything. Like, I'm still a little bitter. Like, I love my classic, but I really miss, I miss my cartridges and my console. Like, and I know I could just buy another, but I just haven't, because I'm also a super frugal person. So it's
Right.
like, I'm just like, no, I don't need to buy another. I have an SNES, mini, and then I also have a Switch Lite now, so I can play a lot of the games. I can't play all of them. So like the practical side of me is like, you don't need to replace it. You don't need more stuff. You don't need to spend money that you don't need to spend, But yeah, probably the SNES, which that makes me sound like a terrible person. but like also the divorce was hard, but at the end of the day, it was meant to happen. I think it was meant to happen, and I think it served its purpose in my life. So,
Okay.
I can let go of that easier than the needless loss of an SNES.
So, my homie Conbot in chat. Okay, there it is. Okay, so I have a bot. Streamlabs chat bot grabs the questions from chat and then puts them into a CSV file. And sometimes, for whatever reason, it gets fucked up and it just cuts off somebody's question. So Conbot's question, according to my bot, was move up. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the length of his question. So I had to re-ask it, and I was going to wait for him to post it, but he's right there. I'm sorry, Conbot. So his question, and our final question of the night: as someone in a similar work environment, live sports production / running for concerts, how do you move up without being an obnoxious person?
I mean, I just assume that I am probably obnoxious a lot. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like me or thinks I'm obnoxious. I'm very boisterous. I don't follow the rules, unless it's a danger or, safety situation on set or things like that. Like, I just don't tend to follow any of the stereotypes. So I do truly just operate under the assumption that most people probably think I'm obnoxious. And then I do a really good job at what I do. And then they're like, holy fuck, like, we love her energy. And it's not actually an obnoxious energy then. Like, it's just like, holy shit, she has a lot of energy and she gets the job done at the end of the day. So that's kind of, I guess, the thing I can say is being genuine and forging lasting relationships with people, regardless of what they can give you, is how I've moved up. My buddy that gave me my first producing job this year, I've never kissed his ass. I probably never will. Like every message he gets from me is very genuine. He had a birthday the other day. I sent him a very sappy, heartfelt bullshit, message. Not bullshit in that it wasn't true, but just like it was all sap, But like he knows that's true. He knows that I genuinely look up to him like that because he's known me long enough to see that that's how I carry myself with the people I care about. So I think, like, honestly, without being obnoxious, it's just knowing to touch base every once in a while, feel out the field, notice when others are busy and they can't get back to you and accept that. And just occasionally throw yourself out there. The best thing that has happened for me, this is crazy to me, is utilizing social media, but in a way that is not overkill. So about a year and a half ago, when I decided to go into entertainment from studying medicine and stuff, I made a post. I got a gig on American Idol. I sent them my resume. They were in Denver. I sent them my resume. They called me within like an hour. They were like, holy shit, like there's a person here that actually does television. Like, we're going to hire you. So I worked with American Idol. I threw up on, and I was just assisting. It wasn't any prestigious sort of position. Like, I was working in the talent department assisting. And I posted on Instagram, I guess this means I'm back. And it was just a photo of my American Idol shirt and my walkie-talkie for the show. And literally within a day of posting that, somebody I used to work with a lot as an assistant back in the day, she messages me and she says, hey, are you in LA? Are you really back? Are you free Monday through Wednesday to work on the American Music Awards? And I'm like, I can be there. And like knowing full well that I'm in Denver and I have to drive to LA with 3 days and be there ready to work. And I was just like, I'm going to fucking make it work. So I showed up and then I started posting, just on social media, hey, this is what I'm working on. And you have to be very careful on set. A lot of sets, you can't take photos or you're fired on the spot. So it's using wisdom and knowing what I could post about to allude to what I was working on or different things like that. And I just started posting, and it's like more and more people start saying, oh my God, she's back. And then like hitting me up and being like, hey, like we saw this or that about you, or that you've had these experiences now and you can probably handle this position. So it's just being willing to like showcase who you really are, but in a way that's genuine and humble, and not trying to get things. Cause like, that's never my focus. Like, I'm always surprised. Like these calls I got last week about these 2 series, literally one of the producers, I got a call within 48 hours. I got a call from 2 different people on the same show wanting to hire me for the same job without knowing the other one wanted to hire me.
No shit.
Which was amazing for my ego. But like hilarious, because neither of them even knew that the other person knew me. And the whole reason this happened was because they needed to hire a new person. They're on the phone with someone, and that person says like, oh, I heard so-and-so's back. And this person that's known me a long time is like, oh my God, so-and-so's back. I'm going to call her right now. To me. And the only reason that happened, and I'm careful sharing these stories because like, these are things that are still in the works that could fall through tomorrow. This is not set out of a place of conceit or anything like that. But it's just that the reason either one of these people called me is because they know, like, if they get me a job, awesome. If they don't get me a job, great. I'm still going to give a fuck about you and help you. Like, do you need help moving tomorrow? I'll help you. Like, I want to be your friend. And then the work on top of that is just the icing on the cake, like getting to work with people you care about.
Right.
So, and I know that that's what it is for them. Like when one of the people heard I was back and he was so excited, because like the person that told him about me was like, his whole voice changed on the phone. Like he was so excited to hear you were back. He just had no idea. And I'm like, that's awesome, because back in the day, we had so many fun times working together. There were no airs about us. We just had fun on set and did whatever. And I fucked up a lot. I almost killed him once in a cargo van. It was terrible. I was a horrible driver. Like things happened. And so, like looking at the history, like it's literally just because we forged good relationships over the years. And I've at least stayed somewhat in touch and maintained relationships, however, deep or superficial they've been, just because of time and distance. But I think that's the best way, is just being yourself and like letting people know that you care, not just about the job, but you care about them, because I even told, when I'm faced with picking between jobs, which is a new problem this year, usually as a freelancer, you're like, oh my God, who has work? I need work right now. And all of a sudden I'm like, and one of the guys that called me last week was like, I love sitting by and watching this part of your life and seeing you have this problem instead of the other problem. Because he's heard me crying on the phone to him about like, oh my God, I need a job so fucking bad before.
Right.
And he was like, I love seeing this. And I was like, yeah, but ultimately, like in my mind, my choice as far as jobs goes, like, who am I going to be happiest with at the end of the day when I'm spending 12 hours a day with them? And all of this really, like I said, just happened by being genuine, by just putting myself out there. So just be myself and bust my ass. Like on set, I'm usually like, every job is every job. Like if you see a PA carrying a case of fucking water and breaking their back and not able to lift it, like fucking help them. Don't just stand there and watch them. I don't give a fuck if you're a producer or who you are.
Yep. Like
move your ass over there and help them carry this shit. This sucks. Like we're all in this to finish this project together with the least amount of like drama. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. That was a big question. I always have big questions as I think about things. Sorry.
This is why I do the podcast, is to expand on these ideas and like get the conversation rolling, because I think that there is such an immeasurable amount of value in these types of conversations, not only for people that want to stream on Twitch, but just in general, like everyday things. I think they're amazing.
Every way that I've moved up has literally been by being me, and lots of opportunities fall through. I get people all the time that are like, ooh, well, keep in contact. I want to hire you on this or that. And then the disappointment is part of it. It fucking happens. It sucks. Yep. But, the moving up has only happened because I have been willing to be a person that can be trusted, have integrity, work hard, and do what's asked of me, and maintain friendships with people. Like the only reason I get producing jobs is because people know I'll show up. Like I may not have all of the expertise yet. I may need more experience, but I'll show up, I'll work hard. And I also know still, like, I know what I can share and when to shut my fucking mouth.
Which is important.
Like, I can't particularly say these things or talk about this topic. I'm sorry. I would love to share with people, but it's not wise, you know? Even like with the shows I'm choosing, it's like, I can't tell you what I'm choosing between. I can't tell you the circumstances behind it, but I can tell you, yeah, this was really awesome. Two people I fucking love called me within 48 hours and both wanted to hire me, and that makes me fucking happy. Like, you know, and it's knowing where those boundaries are too. That's really important so that people know they can trust you. So, which is big to me too, because most of my producers watch my shit.
Right.
Like, I know they watch me on Twitch. They know I stream. And so it's also important to me to be careful how I conduct myself as far as work-related conversations go and what I'm willing to say. So not necessarily how I conduct myself as far as being inappropriate or not, because they all just know I'm a hot mess.
Right.
So.
And they know you're going to get the job done at the end of the day, regardless of inappropriate comments.
Exactly.
The only thing that I will say to piggyback is, and this doesn't necessarily, it's not in relation to the career that you're talking about, Conbot. The three things that I can say is be genuine, give without expectation, and
Yes.
in a room full of people, it only takes one of them to make things go a certain way. So when you feel like the smallest person in the room and there's all of these people that don't like you, or you're afraid of acting a certain way because of the judgment that's going to come after the fact, always remember that it only takes one of those people to actually make something happen. And that, in my opinion, simplifies life a lot. And that's one thing that I always try to keep in the foreground of my mind.
I want to clip that and quote it for the rest of my life to keep those things in my mind, because I think that's wisdom. True. Like, I've worked with and met some really huge people over time, and had I been willing to be more of a person that wanted to like clout chase and stuff, I probably could be in a very different position than I am right now if I really wanted to be, but I don't think I could feel good about myself, you know? But it is like that one person that came back years later and gave me a shot and said, I believe in you. And that like fucking means the world to me, because it wasn't necessarily the person I would have expected to give me like that in or have that connection. But
right.
Yeah, you're totally right with that. That's amazing.
Well, I think that is a perfect place to end this podcast.
I know. I feel so bad. It went so long.
No, I feel okay. I swear to God, at every podcast, I look up at the timer and go, oh my God, it's been 3 fucking hours. But my genuine, like 100% transparency on the inside, I say to myself, I want these to go as long as possible. I was more concerned about your time than mine, because I got nothing to do after this. I'm just going to bed. But this is what happened tonight between the conversation at the beginning of the show and the ideas that we expanded on through the Q&A. This is exactly what I want out of this show.
Cool.
I love being able to sit down, explore other people's lives and their perspectives and their opinions, and just kind of hearing all the things that make somebody else glow, and hearing people talk about it is just such an awesome, it's really a privilege to be able to sit here and kind of observe what's going on. So it's been fucking awesome having you on the podcast.
Good. Yeah. I was nervous when you're like, what is your life like every day? So crazy. Like, what you see on the internet is actually exactly what it's like.
I know.
Like it's bananas. Like, I'm here right now. Tomorrow I have one day off, and I don't consider stream days as days off either, because like I work on those days. So like tomorrow I have one day off, and I've got to get ready to go to Anaheim, and then I'm back for 36 hours, and I leave for Orlando for a thing with Disney. And then tentatively, depending on what happens with these other 2 jobs, I'm either going to start on a series, or I leave immediately for Vegas for Soul Train Awards. So it's like, I don't even know what's happening. And then somehow in between there, I'm going to find time to roller skate, because that's my like one true love is roller skating. So I'm gonna find time to skate at the rink or the park, and then probably get into, who knows, go visit a cult, who knows, one of these random things that I do on like my 5 minutes that I have free,
you know,
on any given day of the week.
I know some Jehovah's Witnesses in Detroit that would love some new blood. Speaking of, if you ever are in Detroit for longer than 12 hours and I don't see you when I find out about it,
that would never happen.
Okay.
In fact, you know what's funny? Sean McLand in your chat, he and I have been trying to meet for 15 fucking years. Him and his wife are like, they met on the same site we met on. I have been to Florida so many times and tried to meet them, and it never fucking works. And like, I'm going to Orlando in a week and a half, and I'm like, I don't even care if it's like an hour for dinner. I want to fucking make this happen. Like, I want to be able to see them after 14, 15 years of not getting to like meet Sean. Like, it's hilarious to me. And like, yeah, so no, I will make it a point. And I want to visit Detroit. Detroit is I've been to almost all of the US states. I only have 10 left or 8 left. And Michigan is one of them. And I really want to go to Detroit. So
awesome. We'll have some
Sean,
fun.
Shut up. I like you. Getting to think she doesn't like us. No.